is His Excellency Peter Mohan Pieris, Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka. You may address the conference.
Mr. President, my delegation extends warm congratulations to you on the assumption of the presidency of the 10th Review Conference. Your Excellencies, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen. Let me assure you, Mr. President, and this August Assembly, of my delegation's fullest support to you and your Bureau and the work that we will do in the next 4 weeks. Sri Lanka aligns itself with the statement delivered by the Republic of Azerbaijan on behalf of the non-aligned movement. Mr. President, this review conference takes place at a time when the world is grappling with multiple global crises, including the effects of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, witnessing an increase in nuclear-related activities, and facing an alarming deterioration of the international security sphere. In this context, we cannot but emphasize the relevance of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons and the importance of a substantive consensus outcome from this conference. It is an invaluable instrument, as we appreciate, that provides a balanced and a non-discriminatory approach to maintaining international peace and security, while safeguarding equal access to the peaceful uses of nuclear energy and technology. It might be pertinent, Mr. President, I say, to recall the 1996 advisory opinion of the ICJ, when it said that the threat or use of nuclear weapons should be compatible with the principles and rules of international humanitarian law, and that such a threat or use would be generally be contrary to the principles of international humanitarian law. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this opinion seems to have influenced later developments in nuclear disarmament, which we observe in the final document of the 2010 NPT review, which led to a delivery, I say, of a joint statement by 16 states in 2012, the Preparatory Committee, which declared that it is of utmost importance that these weapons never be used again under any circumstances, and that the only way to guarantee this was the total, irreversible, and verifiable elimination of nuclear weapons. Mr. President, Sri Lanka has always stood at the forefront of global non-proliferation and disarmament efforts, and reaffirms its steadfast commitment and support for the complete elimination of nuclear weapons. This, I say, is the only guarantee against the threat that they pose to humanity, and all states have an obligation, without doubt, to engage in good faith to achieve the objectives of the total elimination of nuclear weapons. Dear friends, our efforts in this regard go as far back as in 1976, the summit of the non-aligned movement, chaired by Sri Lanka, during which the idea of a special session on disarmament was mooted. It is also recalled that the historic NPT Review Conference of 1995 was also chaired by Sri Lanka. Mr. President, Sri Lanka welcomes the joint statement by the 5 permanent members of the Security Council issued in January of this year, affirming, amongst other things, that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. A recognition of the unimaginable humanitarian consequences of a nuclear catastrophe. We also welcome the extension of the New START Treaty, which is a positive step towards strategic stability and mutual confidence, and I hope it will get started again. We also emphasize the relevance of nuclear weapons-free zones and their role in mutually assuring our own security. Allow me, Mr. President, also to take this opportunity to highlight the importance of disarmament education in furtherance of the total elimination of nuclear weapons. It is our firm conviction that sustaining progress in non-proliferation and disarmament greatly relies on investing in our youth. This would include development of expertise in the political, technical, scientific, and legal areas of disarmament for the capacity building and empowerment of youth in the campaign for disarmament. We encourage member states and the United Nations to continue to invest in disarmament training and education. Mr. President, we wish to reiterate the continued validity and the relevance of the concept of peaceful uses of nuclear energy and nuclear technology in the advancement of socio-economic development of states as provided for under Article 4 of the NPT. Sri Lanka firmly believes that the peaceful use of nuclear technology should be made a lasting reality and an important priority through meaningful, sustained, and practical measures. Mr. President, we note there are initiatives to promote the idea of nuclear risk reduction as the focus of the conference. While it certainly can be an element of the process, it should not be viewed as an end itself. It is important to be mindful that the conference should not be diverted from the core objectives of the treaty, resulting in settling the bar or setting the bar too low. In our respectful view, the approach of nuclear risk reduction seems to emerge as a compromise for the unsatisfactory pace of progress on nuclear disarmament and on non-proliferation objectives of the treaty. Mr. President, the threat of nuclear weapons is one of the most significant and pressing nuclear challenges, global challenges of our time. It is therefore important that we promote cooperation, reciprocity, and inclusiveness as an important feature in our approach to building confidence among states as an effective mechanism to prevent doubts and as a consequence reduce the risk of accidental attacks. Having regard to the fact that nuclear weapons are the most destructive, inhumane, and indiscriminate weapons ever used, remember that we have today 13,000 nuclear weapons in the world, many of which are ready to be used within minutes. Mr. President, the task at hand is urgent. Our earthly sojourn is limited, we will all appreciate, and limited, and during that short time, we need to secure the planet for the benefit of our future generations, in keeping with the intergenerational trust that we here have covenanted to keep. There is only one compromise, I say, and that is a compromise for the sustenance of a peaceful, nuclear-free world in which all humankind can live in peace and in dignity. My dear friends, I'm sure if we pose this question, explain ourselves to our youth, I'm sure the youth of today will tell us in very simple terms that we can do without nuclear weapons. Can I sum this up with the quotation from President Kennedy, who summed it up in a few words when he simply said, "The weapons of war must be abolished before they abolish us." Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Sri Lanka for his statement.